Alright, boys. We're gonna cut the crap on this commissioner video. Because right now, the only thing that matters is winning. And what happens in Week 10. This is your last regular season commissioner address. And it's a big one. We've got a lot happening around the league. We've got a lot of people that are fighting for playoff spots. And what they do this week determines whether or not they make the winner's bracket or the loser's bracket. So you better be taking it seriously. Okay? We're going to jump into this, and our first segment is just going to be going over what happened in Week 9. Because like I said, all that matters right now are the games. So let's do this. Okay, we're going to get the trash game out of the way with here. Okay, and that first game is for Netflix and Chill versus Starkatheon. And I'm only talking about one part of this, and that's that both of these guys played someone who weren't active for the game. Fournette didn't take pictures with the team or something like that, so he was ruled out. And this was before the game started, so no excuse. And Hunter played Kellen Benjamin, who had gotten traded that week and then was ruled out hours before the game. So that's all I'm going to say about it. That's pathetic on your guys' part. That's the kind of stuff that doesn't get you invited next year back to the league. Because we're trying to make this league great. Okay? Make fantasy football great again, and that's what I'm trying to do. We were horrendous last year. This stuff happened all the time. It's not happening this year. It sure as hell isn't happening next year. Next matchup. Partney versus Coulter. Coulter came away 130 to 104, securing his most likely first round playoff bye. So congratulations to you on that, Coulter. Partney, you lost, and that means you're right in the hunt for a playoff spot. You no longer have one secured up, and it's going to come down to whether you win or lose next week. We'll get into that, but this was a huge game for you, and you couldn't pull it out. Coulter's team has just proven that they score no matter what, even without that running back 2 spot doing anything, and even without Ertz. He's a scary team. So congratulations, Coulter, on securing your bye. And then we have Jeremy versus Alex. Jeremy, your team is not doing what you said. You're not wreaking any havoc on this league. Your voice in this league has gotten less and less throughout the weeks. So, you know, it's nice to have people active, okay? It's nice to have people talking, but when you're losing, that doesn't mean you just shut down and stop talking, okay? Fantasy season's not over. We still have all of playoffs, and we still have one more regular season game, so keep talking. Alex, nice job. 128 points, and that's with a -1 defense. Good job. I like to see that from someone who most likely 99% is not making the playoffs. I think maybe even 100% isn't making the playoffs, but you're still putting up points. You're still kind of active in the chat as you are, and that's all we expect from you, and we like that. Jeremy, Then we had Juju on that beat versus Blaine's team. Keeps changing his name. So, I lost. I needed a win, and it was to pretty much secure a playoff spot. I couldn't get it done. Blaine proved why he was the #1 seed. He's now 8-1. He's up there by himself. Secured himself a first-round bye. So, congratulations to Blaine. Both the Egemeyer brothers have first-round byes. I was talking to another person in this league, and we both agreed that the Egemeyers are our rivals, our arch nemesis people, whatever, however you say that, plural form. Something about you guys just gets me going, the damn Egemeyer brothers. So either way, I'm sitting at 5-4 with a couple others. We're all fighting next week. I needed to win, and I didn't. I couldn't get it done. T.Y. Hilton's freaking stupid touchdown didn't help me either. So then we had Tom Bradley versus Nick in the Two-Dreaded Monster, and Nick won 130 to 86. It was a blowout. LaShawn McCoy did not help Brad at all, and having Tom Brady and Brandon Cooks on bye also did not help Brad at all. If LaShawn McCoy even put up 30. I mean, it's still not close. So at least you can look at it this way. You know, no matter what you would have done, you're not going to win. You got 23 from Robert Woods, and you still couldn't pull it out. That's just unfortunate. But then again, you're pretty much playing the underdog role, the upset person here towards the end of this regular season. So you just got to get your team geared up for that loser's bracket and hope you don't get last, along with a few others. Nick, you are now 5-4, so you're sitting right there. You win, and you're in is pretty much for all those 5-4 teams. You're going to decide your own fate here next week, so congratulations on the win. Last matchup from Week 9, we had Colin versus Jason. Jason won this one. Colin, your team did absolutely nothing. Kareem Hunt had a 50-some% snap count or whatever you want to call it last week. And listening to some talk radio, Andy Reid does this every year. He, for some reason, just stops using players. He did it with Jamal Charles in the past. I don't know why they decided to put Charkandrick West in there for those check down throws. And it sucks. But they have a bye week coming up. So that's not good for you. So maybe for the playoffs. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're in the playoffs. So maybe for the playoffs, Kareem Hunt will get that heavy workload back. But Jason, congratulations on getting your second win of the year. You are now tied for last. You're not holding it on your own. So good job on that. So that's Week 9 for you. And again, I'm only going over this because every game matters. These games mattered a ton, and these next games matter even more here in Week 10. It's our last regular season matchups. So let's move over to the scoreboard, the leaderboard, and we're going to see how we sit right now going into 10. We'll go over what needs to happen for those who are looking for a playoff spot. And we'll just see pretty much who sucks and who's going to be in the losers bracket. So give me 1 second, we'll pull it up. All right, so standings. Here they are. We have Blaine and Coulter, the Eggemeyer brothers, sitting at the top. They will most likely, 99% for sure, have first round buys in the playoffs. So take a load off, guys. Sit all your players if you want to, because you're in. But don't sit all your players, because, well, or whatever. Okay, so Colin, you're sitting at 6-3. You have secured playoff berth in the winners bracket. The only way you'll get the first round bye is if you win and Coulter loses, and you score like 200 and some points, and Coulter scores very little. So you're not going to get the first round bye, which stinks, but you also get a load off knowing you're safe, you're in the playoffs. So that's good. Not a lot of people can say that, only 3 of you. And then we have the 5-4 teams. After what happened in Week 9, there's quite a few of us. So it's me, it is Partney, it is Nick, and it is Therrell. So what happens in Week 10 determines your playoff spot. Points 4 aren't going to matter. It matters in terms of seeding, but that also doesn't matter because it's not like you're going to get a bye out of it. So Week 10, you got to win to get in. So if you're sitting at 5-4 and you lose, unless all the 5-4s pretty much lose and it comes down to points 4, that's how that'll play out. Alex, you're sitting at 4-5. If you win and a lot of people at 5-4 lose, you could get in. I haven't really looked at that much, but I mean, try and put up a ton of points and get yourself in there with the points 4 column on your side. Probably won't happen. But yeah, so that's the standings. We now have a tie for last, and it's Jason. Can't seem to get out of the bottom, although he did win. Hunter and Jeremy. So you guys are all at 2-7. Brad, you're at 3-6. You're not getting in. So those are the 4 teams for sure that are in the losers bracket. So that's what it looks like right now. That's the standings. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to pull up our projected playoff bracket. Bam, we're going to start with the losers. So if the playoffs were to start right now, this is what the losers bracket would look like. Obviously, with that 7 seed for Netflix and Chill, you can still make it, but the others, that's pretty much what it's going to look like. So, yeah, sorry for you guys. And then we have the winners bracket. this is what it's going to look like for the 1 and 2. So you guys will have buys. And then the other 4, it's up for, however Week 10 plays out. But that's what it looks like right now. Colin's definitely in, and then the other 3 teams. Just got to win and you're in. Okay, so Week 10. These are big matchups. Big. First matchup here means nothing, though. Starkatheon versus Balavion. You guys can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You're going into the loser's bracket. But you know what? The loser's bracket is still just as important. Because we will have a punishment. It's looking like the ACT. So you don't want to get last. I know the loser's bracket can be more stressful than the winner's bracket. Because the punishment is worse than the reward in the winner's bracket. At times. The ACT would stink. You got to get up early. It's usually on the weekend. I think if we do the ACT and it's someone in Festus, we tailgate. We tailgate their ACT. So anyone who can make it, we'll work out the logistics, but I think tailgating the ACT would be awesome. Then we can wait in there until they get done and then congratulate them on taking it. So that's just a thought. If you guys, of course we have to be of age and we have to tailgate off of school property. Dr. Luttrell, I'm not going to break any rules. I know the superintendent, he wouldn't like that. So we'll make sure we do all this, at someone's house. We'll tailgate at the house. Okay, so that matchup means nothing. Next matchup, we have, big one. Big one. So, 2 girlies, 1 cup versus me. If I win, I am in. And Coulter, please do not put up one of those ridiculous high-scoring games that you always do. I need you to do poorly. And it helps that Ertz is out. And it helps that you have Burkhead in. Hopefully he doesn't do it. Just please let me win. Please. Regardless, though, I'm going to have a decent lineup. I don't have many people on bye. It's just my kicker. Zeke will probably be out. And Julio and Dez got hurt. Yeah, last week, Blaine hurt with his curse. Julio was kind of hurt the whole time. Dez got hurt and got taken out. And I started Eddie Lacy, who was going to be the guy, and started out being the guy, looking pretty good. And he went out with a groin, so thanks, Blaine. Thanks a lot. But what you gonna do? I gotta win this week. This is huge. I need to beat Coulter. Coulter, don't do anything, please. Next up, Alex versus Brad. This game doesn't mean much. Alex, if you put up like 300 points and other teams lose, you have a chance. So you need everyone on your team to put up about 30. I'm assuming. Maybe you get in a different way. I don't see a different way. You're going to need to score a ton of points, and you're going to need a few teams to lose. You're going to need all the 5 and 4 teams to pretty much lose. So, this game doesn't mean much. Whatever. Then we have Blaine versus Colin. This game also doesn't mean much, but in the opposite way. You guys are already in the playoffs. Blaine already has his first round bye locked in. Colin, you're pretty much playing to get the first round bye, which means you just have to score way more points than Coulter, and Coulter also has to lose. So, that's pretty much it there. Nothing too huge. Then we have Nick versus Jason. So the brothers will play each other here in the final regular season. Jason, if you do one thing all year besides make double-digit trades in this league, please let it be to beat Nick. I need you to do that for me. Please. So that is a big game. But the biggest game of Week 10, the marquee matchup, 100% is Partney versus Farrell. The battle of the coaches. I mean, you couldn't have written the script any better. These guys are 5 and 4. If you win, you're in. If you lose, most likely, you're out. So, I mean, you guys better be dialed in. Farrell, you better not be playing somebody who's not even active again. Because if you do, you're 100% not getting invited back next year. So pay attention to your lineups and make this week count. I know Pardney's going to be paying attention. I know he's ready. I don't know where Therrell's mind is. I know it's basketball season right now, so he's probably got that going on, but not on Sundays. Therrell, this needs to take precedent over everything else in your life. Over teaching, over basketball, over your wife, your kid. Put them aside for 48 hours during the weekend. Put everything aside and just focus on fantasy football. Because it was looking like you weren't going to make the playoffs. It was looking like you just donated your money. And we all thought you did. But somehow you're sneaking your way up into the playoffs. And you know what? What better way to prove that you're the better coach in Festus than to beat Pardney? Because the way I look at it, two of the coaches that have influenced my life the most are you two. And that's why you guys are in this league. Not going to get into it. But you two, this is for bragging rights. Okay? You guys are the oldest in the league. You're the most mature. Even though Coach Therrell doesn't act the most mature. He doesn't set his lineup half the time. This is a huge game. Okay? And I think we're all going to be paying attention to it. Let's see if there's any Monday night performers that it might come down to. No. We will know by Sunday. Sunday night. Who wins this? It's a big one. I'm excited, guys. I'm really excited for the playoffs. I will be even less excited, though, if I lose. But whatever happens, this is great. This is great for the league, okay? I don't care what you say. Having this tight of a race is great for the league. I don't care that we only had 10 weeks of the regular season. It still comes down to the wire. Okay, you add 3 more weeks and maybe it sorts itself out. This is why we play fantasy football. We're going to be stressed out all week. I know I am. I know Colin is. I don't know who else is fighting for spots is going to be stressed out, but I know Alright. I'm going to throw something up here that I've thrown up before. It's the transaction counter. I'm sure about 9 or 10 of you didn't even know this existed, because if you didn't know about the waiver wire, I know you don't know about this. So let's throw it up again. This is pretty much what all you guys have done via waiver, free agents, putting people in and out of your lineup in trades, obviously. So Jason leading the league with 10 trades, his brother with 7, so I guess it runs in the family to just trade all the time. So you guys are the league leader in trades. Congratulations. I'm sure there'll be more here this week after I get done with this video, because you guys can't have the same lineup, the same team for more than 2 weeks without trading people away. And then we have this next column, acquisitions. This is pretty much new people you brought onto your team, whether it's waiver, free agent, and I am assuming trades is involved as well. I have 25. So that's a lot considering, whatever. It just means I pretty much tinker or I've had injuries. That's what this means. If you have a lot of acquisitions, you tinker or players get injured and you're always rotating people in and out. So I do it a lot. Jason does it a ton, and that's mostly because of the trades. And Brad does it a lot, mainly because he has a bad team, so he's just trying to find people to play. Coulter surprisingly picks up a lot of people too, even though the core of his lineup remains the same. He had a lot of acquisitions here this last week because of buys and Ertz being out and stuff like that. Drops is pretty much going to be the same thing as acquisitions. And then activate is how many times you've put a new person into your lineup. So how many times you've played someone new, or at least put them into the starting rotation. I have a lot. Jason has the most. He always has a new lineup every week, or he's changing it throughout the week. And Blaine has a lot. He changed his lineup actually quite a bit this year, even though he kept winning games. So that's it. That last column is IR. We're going to add that next year, and it's pretty much so that, for example, when Coulter had Danny Woodhead go out first game of the year and he got put on the IR and we knew he was coming back, he could put him in an IR spot and then for the rest of the season have an open bench spot until he comes back to put whoever he wants in. Same with like Colin and Greg Olson. That's it for the transaction counter. Up next, we will go over. We'll go over something funny. All right, I want to go back. We did it last week. We went back to where we started, and what we talked about was draft night. What I want to talk about right now is my preseason, pre-draft. This is a big one. Pre-draft power rankings. So at number 1, I had Jason. This was mainly because he was a 2016 champ. I thought he knew his stuff. Apparently he didn't because he failed miserably on draft night by not drafting running backs, pretty much. So the confidence thing was still there. Even now, the confidence thing is still there. So that's awesome to see. I think you did take the offseason too lightly, though. I think you weren't focused going into draft. Actually, I'm positive you weren't focused. You probably drafted on your phone or something and just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. I know you'll change that next year, especially if we have an in-person draft. That will put a lot of pressure on everyone, and it'll make you think twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times about who you're going to pick every round. So, myself at number 2. I think this is... I really do think I still have the second best team. Especially if Zeke would have served his 6-game suspension at the beginning of the year, and I get him for the rest. Oh, no doubt I have the second best team. Maybe first. I think that's pretty good, honestly. And then we had Partney at 3rd. Pretty decent. He's fallen a bit recently, but I still think that's a good spot for him. Just because we know Blaine's not 1 or 2, even though he's getting lucky this year. And then I would be ahead of him, and then maybe Coulter. So I think that's a good spot for Coach Partney. Number 4, Jeremy Moss. Man, was I wrong. And it's pretty much just because it's his first season in the league. I didn't know what we were getting with Jeremy. I thought he would be way more into it. He only talks maybe once a week. We hear from him once a week. I thought he'd be more active. Hopefully it picks up next season. If you're here, you'll probably be here. But, yeah, next season you're definitely not getting ranked as high as 4. No way. Number 5, Brad. You've had some bad luck too, but your pros of being a straight shooter, I was dead on with that. You've kept that up all season. Number 6, you see, we had Michael White. Let this be some foreshadowing to some of you. I never heard from that kid. The only time he would ever talk was when he would reply to one of Jason's comments. I don't care if you don't know everyone in the league. We're in this together. It's like the Shield, okay? We're all in it together. You better get to know them, because if you want to last in this league, you better talk to everyone. You better be vocal and active. He wasn't. I kicked him out a week before the draft. And if you don't think that's not going to happen to you, I'm sorry. Okay? This is fantasy football. This is pretty much a job, in my opinion. This is something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Friendships are important. They're not that important when it comes to fantasy football. So I freaking cut him out of there. We put Therrell in, so that means Therrell would be at 6 probably. Yeah, that's right where you are. Number 7, Hunter. We'll forget to set his... I swear, I'm just not looking at this again for the first time. We'll forget to set his lineup at least 3 times this year. I know he would have... I'm not going to talk about it, but that's pretty much right. Don't know if he's 100% committed, Hunter. I don't know if you are. And I think he let some people get into his head this year when it came to trades. Colin, I was wrong. Sorry, I was probably just trying to be funny when I made this. You're better than an 8. You're better than an 8. Okay? You are knowledgeable. You had a good draft. And you get all of the league references that have been thrown out this year. So, pretty right. You played some sleepers. You played a tight end this week that was Ertz's backup. But, I don't know if anyone else would have picked him up and played him. I know Coulter acted like he would have, because it was his backup. But Good job on that. So that was pretty much right. Coulter, number 9. I was wrong about you, dude. I was dead wrong. You were one of the best teams in the league this year. You had a great draft. Mainly because they still stayed healthy is why you're still relevant. If you would have had any injuries, I know for damn sure if you had any major injuries on your team, you'd be bad. If you had to deal with what I have had to deal with this year, with the whole Zeke thing, with the whole Dalvin Cook injury, I know you wouldn't have gotten Jerick McKinnon. You would have been so low on the waiver wire. There's been a lot of things that have gone your way this year. Injuries not happening to your team is one. But other than that, I mean, you had a good draft, you've had a good team, and you've managed it pretty well. So you definitely deserve better than a 9. Nick, put you at 10. I didn't know what I was getting with you. I don't regret it at all. You're a middle-of-the-pack team. You've been pretty good all year. You've had some bad weeks. You've had some good weeks. So, I'm fine with keeping you there. Number 11, we had Alex. Pretty right about that, too. You'll have a higher ranking next year, though. You will. You'll definitely be back next year, too. You did troll a lot this year. So it says here, less drama, more football. That is exactly what you bring to the table. You just talk trash, or you bring up drama from the past, and we don't hear about football from you. So that's actually pretty dead on by me. And then we had Blaine at last. Man, obviously it's the exact opposite, and Blaine's sitting in first right now. Blaine, congratulations on being the first seed. That's all I have to say about that. So there you are. Those were our preseason, pre-draft power rankings. I'm going to try and have the power rankings up for week 10, maybe up tomorrow. But let's get into our last topic here, and that's going to be the new positions that are opening up. So I'm going to go over that, and then we'll be done. Alright, so recently I decided I needed some help. I mean, I don't need it. No, I could do it on my own. Do I want to do it on my own? Do I want to have all of this power? The selfish part of me says yes, but my morals kicked in and said, you know what? I need to distribute some power amongst the league, amongst the 11 other owners here, and give some people some titles. People who want them, and people who will work hard to earn them. So, come up with 4 positions available. Already have resumes in from a few of these. If you think that there's another one that you'd be better suited for that you want to try and make up and send my way, I am open to hearing them. I really am. So let's start off with Commissioner. Where and how do I apply? Easy. Thank you for asking. It's on the Facebook if you haven't already seen it. The qualifications and the jobs are in a post, and then in a separate post I have some questions you can answer in a resume, or just answer either way, and I would like you to email me those, and my email is also on that post. So that's how you apply. The deadline for applications, I know people have been asking, it's a while away, and I'm going to set the deadline January 1st, New Year's. So most likely get it in before that, because you're going to be hungover on New Year's. And that is 1 week after our last game, which is week 16. So you have a week after the season ends to gather your thoughts, if you lost or won, whatever, So it gives you a week to do that. Obviously, I'm accepting them now. I'm storing them. And they're good, guys. I have some good applications. So if you want a spot, getting that stuff in now doesn't hurt you. So, these are the titles. We have Co-Commissioner, 3 to 5 years experience with fantasy football, at least 2 years in the League of Thrones. I'm pretty much, since this is the first time we're doing this, we've only had the League of Thrones for, I think, 2 years. well, the League of Thrones 1 year, but we've had this core for 2. I'm pretty much going to accept applications from anyone who's in right now. There are a couple who, like Nick and Theral, we know for sure haven't been here last year, so I'm not even going to debate it. They obviously can't apply. But this is going to be probably the most prestigious title up for grabs. And I'm not most likely going to just handpick these, okay? I'll get to that in a second. League Secretary is the next one. Everyone's eligible. You're pretty much just going to be getting handed down busy work, whether it's doing some work on the Facebook page, giving me power rankings, and then I will give some synopses about each team. So you would get some hands-on work with that. Then we have the Treasurer. This is pretty much just someone I want with no criminal record, who's going to handle our money. That way I don't have to worry about storing it in my Venmo. I've already sent off hundreds of dollars of our league dues. I mean, I'm good for it. I have the money. I just can't put it back in my Venmo. So I just want someone who's going to be good with money and very trustworthy. So anyone can apply for that. And then we have the Cultural Ambassador. This is pretty much someone almost like a party planning committee. Almost like someone who keeps the league active, keeps morals high, keeps trash talking high. Someone that is going to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Stirring up the pot, creating controversy. Stuff we expect in a fantasy football league. So those are the positions. If you want to include a different position, let me know. I'll either, shoot it down or say that's a good idea, and we'll talk about it. But the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of leagues pretty much go dormant during the off season. And yes, we will have times where not much is happening. But this will make sure that we have at least a month, after our season is over, of fantasy football. We might not have games going, but we will for sure have campaigning going. So, like I said, these resumes are supposed to be in by the 1st, and then, I don't know, maybe February 1st, we will elect our officials. We will appoint who wins. And I know the big one is going to be co-commissioner. I know there's already about 3 people who want it. I will most likely pick about 2 nominees. 2 different parties, I guess. I don't know. And those 2 are going to duke it out for about a month. Do whatever you want to do, but we're going to campaign. I think that is something that will keep us active. And I think if you really want a title, having to campaign and having to earn it is the best way to do it. So you'll have, I haven't decided yet, but about a month, I guess, of trying to influence people, trying to get your name out there for whatever you're trying to win. So, yeah. Campaign season is the off season now. You ready? That's it, guys. That's it for the Week 10 address. I'm sorry this was a very serious address. Less funny business, more serious stuff. I mean, the games are what matter right now. There's no catching up. There's no nothing. I mean, you just have to win. For those 5 and 4 teams, you have to win. If you're sitting there and you're worried about other things right now, wrong. This is what matters. I don't care if you have teams to coach. I don't care if you have kids to worry about. I don't care if you have a family or if you have mortgage due here coming up. Put that aside. For 1 week, put it aside and worry about what matters most. Put fantasy football ahead of everything else. Because fantasy football, for you 5 and 4 teams, are going to determine your happiness for the next week and a half. Whether you make the playoffs in the winner's bracket, the loser's bracket. And I know you don't want to be in the loser's bracket. Nobody wants to be in the loser's bracket. Because if you're in the loser's bracket, you could potentially be taking the ACT. Jason, you might have to take the SAT since you're on the East Coast. But I'm serious. This is huge. Playoffs right around the corner. Think about what's important.